This is our first game. We made it in just 6 months with zero to no previous experience with any kind of game development. But wait, let's start from zero. We're a small team of 4 indie game developers, and today, we're excited to share the story of our first game's creation from a basic idea to the finished product. Like many of you, our love for games stretches back as far as we can remember. But beyond playing, we've always been fascinated by the making of games. The science, technology, and artistry behind every detail. We grew up playing mobile games cluttered with ads, and if we are talking about ads for a while, we noticed that fake game ads promise much but deliver little or completely nothing. It was then we asked ourselves, why not create the game we always wanted to play? But this is our first experience with any kind of game development thing. We struggled with a lot of things, made mistakes, and learned a lot of things. But you guys can help us by subscribing to our main game studio channel, Boundless Byte, because upcoming videos will come about how much we earn with game development, how to develop the first game, and much more on that channel. Choosing the mobile platform was an easy decision. It was accessible, it was popular, and it seemed like the perfect starting point for us as beginners in the vast world of game development. The game idea itself came from a simple concept. One of our team members thought of an endless runner game. It will be set inside a huge spaceship tunnel. The player will be inside a spaceship and traveling inside the huge tunnel. He would have to dodge multiple types of obstacles to survive. Our main focus was to make it look cool because, knowing the mobile platform, everyone cared about how the game looked and felt. We chose Unreal Engine 5 for our game because it's known for making really high-quality games, and we want our game to be the best it can be. Plus, the engine has something called Blueprint, a way to program the game using visuals instead of writing lots of code. This was super helpful for us because we're not experts in coding yet. The big reason we picked Unreal Engine 5 is that this is our first game, and we're planning to learn a lot from making it. We also have plans to make games for other devices like game consoles and PCs in the future. Starting with Unreal Engine 5 means we can use what we learn now for those future games. It's like getting a head start, so when we're ready to make more complex games, we'll be more prepared and have a bit of experience under our belt. As you know, we are a team of 4 people, and we are not living in one place. So this was a big challenge, so the first week was spent setting up multi-user editing and GitHub, so we will work together and store our game in one place. Setting it up was a huge headache until we came to the internet. After searching and using some human brain, I got some articles and YouTube videos. And after that, it was super easy to set up the multi-use editing and also GitHub, and we got it running in 10 minutes. And if you are interested in doing this, I will give you the link in the description. After setting up the GitHub server, this was the time we had to decide how we work together and how we split the work. At that time, there were only 3 people working on the game. So one of them would be working on the ship, one of them would be working on the tunnel and obstacles, and one of them would be focusing on all of the UI work. After splitting the work, we started working on the game, collaborating with each other and helping each other with the problem. At first, some of us were having quite a lot of issues with Unreal's UI because we had no experience with it, but we were making a lot of progress. By the end of the first month, we were able to make a main menu, tunnel spawning, ship control, speed boost, simple score system, and pause menu. Overall, by the end of June, we had made significant progress and gained a lot of Unreal experience. In the second month, we were focused on making a playable prototype, and we made a lot of progress in that month as well. We still had 3 people working on the game almost every day, and because of our consistency, we almost had the game completed, but as you can see, we had quite an issue with making the UI. Since even though we had some experience in 3D, none of us had any experience with 2D or UI design. We had to download assets as placeholders, and honestly, none of it was any good. In the middle of the month, we had almost completed most of the mechanics, and the only thing left was replacing the assets and polishing the mechanics, which was surprisingly time-consuming. We started thinking that this game would be completed by August, since we already had everything laid out. But, as I said at the start of the video, the game wasn't finished until January. But we still made a substantial amount of progress in July as well. We added the main menu, a working pause system, a ship accelerating thing, a touch controller, tunnels, and some other things. This month, all of our focus was on polishing and completing the UI. We highly underestimated the UI creation part, and we were having a lot of issues with the UI creation. But the game was starting to look like a real game, and the tunnels and obstacles were looking good, but we were still changing the obstacle models and other things. The game still had a lot of things that needed to be done, like loading screens, a better control system, and many other things. Overall, this month's progress was decent. The game has started looking more and more like an actual sci-fi game, and changes in models are making the game look more alive, but we were still having a lot of issues with UI. Since we were having a lot of issues with UI, at that time we decided to buy a UI pack for around $30. And after setting up the UI, the look of the overall game changes from this to this. And after we could have gotten a better UI pack, but for the price and genre of the game, we got a decent deal. While one of us was working on the UI, the other guy was working on refining the obstacle and tunnel. Most of the obstacles that are in the game currently were added this month, but some of them were also removed from the game as well. And it was this month that we decided to add some extra features to ships, such as boost and slowdown. But after some time, we replaced the slow perk with the invincibility perk, since it was a lot cooler and better. But it wasn't finished either. So we faced a lot of problems. And if somebody is playing this game, they will say this is a glitch. So the problem is that you were able to go outside of the tunnel after activating it, which we later fixed. And at the same time, we were able to almost finish the UI, but it still had a lot of stuff that needed to be fixed or created, like garages, shops, and settings. As you know, these are some of the essential things in the game. At the end of this month, we started texturing the obstacle and imported some ships. Even though after such a productive month we still had a long way to go, we still didn't have any ships or trails to buy, buying systems, or any achievements because our main focus was to complete the UI. Overall, it was one of the most productive months of game development. So these are our final months. We were finally able to finish the UI, but there was still some important stuff left, like the fact that we hadn't even started working on the game. And that is the optimization and size of the game at that time. The game was over 600 megabytes, which for mobile was a lot, and it could have been a huge downside. And as you know, we are using Unreal Engine 5, so we cannot reduce the size as other engines can, such as Unity. Meanwhile, this month was mainly focused on making the game look beautiful. Also, this month we started working on adding the ships and trails, and also doing post-processing and adding some effects. Overall, we were able to make the game look from a decent game to a highly polished game. This month, we were able to almost complete the game. We added new ships and new trails that players can buy, added a proper loading screen, and at that time we had 4 people working on the game. One member was working on the sound design, and by the end of the month we had also completed the sound design. It was not even near perfect, but it was my first time trying to make sound effects. After that, we just need to reduce the size of the game, which we were already working on. At that time, the game was around 300 megabytes after some useless things were removed, but after replacing some assets, we were able to reduce it to 143 megabytes, which is a great success for us. And just like that, when December came, the game was complete. We had finished adding the sound, some more ships and trails, set up the setting system, and also fixed some bugs. After everything was done, we tested our game on our smartphones, but not only on our personal devices. We also requested that some of our family members and friends play the game and see if they detect any bugs or performance issues. They actually find a lot of things that are causing problems, mainly on the performance side, so we can fix those things easily. So finally, we had to release the game, and for that, we had to do some important things. We made our Google Console account last month, and the only thing left was to make some images to show our game and finish the story page, which didn't take that long. What took too long was getting a reply from the Google Play Store. It took over 2 weeks to finally get the game available for release. So the day arrived and we published the game on the Play Store. We were excited, and we also knew that it wouldn't get many downloads, since the Play Store barely advertises the new game. But you can check out our game and give us some feedback. We learned so many things in these 6 months of making this game, and this makes us more confident to work on some different ideas, and also for different platforms. So don't forget to subscribe to our main channel because upcoming videos are very interesting, and we will announce our next project very soon. We will also share more information about this game, so thanks for watching.